Hi, and welcome back to Fabulously Feral. I'm going to talk about a topic that kind of hits really close to home. Excuse me if I kind of stutter or miss some words here. It's kind of emotional for me to talk about this because I've been through it. Maybe not to the extent that the woman I'm about to talk about has, but still very brutal for many years. So I basically wanted to talk about a woman who was shot over the weekend. I think it was Sunday, maybe it was Monday, but I'm pretty sure it was Sunday. And she was shot 5 times, essentially, by a significant other, former significant other, not sure which. That was never made clear in any of the news articles that I read about it. He fled the scene after shooting her, and he was captured at a place called Edinburgh Mall, which is a designer mall south of Indianapolis, Indiana. And basically they sell designer handbags, clothes, things of that nature in different shops. And he is facing 1 count of attempted voluntary manslaughter, a level 2 felony, 1 count of criminal confinement, a level 3 felony, 1 count of criminal recklessness while armed with a deadly weapon, a level 5 felony, and a misdemeanor count of interference with reporting a crime. His bond hearing has concluded, and his bond is set at $75,000 cash bond. But, my question here is, how many women have to die or nearly die before something is done? I'm going to tell you my personal experience. When I turned in somebody for battering me, he got 1 year time served. The rest was set to probation. That happened twice. There was another incident of where a cop from Marion County, I believe he lived in the county above Marion County on the map, I'm not sure, but he was sentenced to 1 year time served probation. They typically accept a plea deal and then they get something else out of it. Like they might have to do community service, but they have to also do something that's called anger management. The anger management is not counseling. Don't get it confused. It is no help at all. It is something for them to laugh at, and they do. Trust me, they do. It's propaganda. It basically informs them, oh, this is domestic violence, this is what it is, this is the different forms of abuse. There's no real counseling there to help them, look inwardly and see, oh, I'm doing a thing that I probably shouldn't do. Let's talk this through. There's no talking on their part, really. So it doesn't help. And when a woman goes to a domestic violence shelter, she's given 45 days. That's all that the government subsidizes. So these shelters are like, wish you luck, our hands are tied, you gotta go after 45 days. Now, if this woman has been in a position where she's not allowed to have a job, where she's been secluded from family, from friends, it's all about control with these abusers. And if they mess up your job, your career, so that you can no longer work in that field because they show up and they do what they're gonna do right there in front of everybody, which has happened to me, you're not gonna be able to hold that job. So 45 days is not enough time to find another job, get a house, and get moved in. With or without furnishings at all. Doesn't matter as long as you have a roof, but it's not enough time to do those things. Especially when you don't have a physical address. Most domestic violence shelters let you use their P.O. box because you can't, for safety reasons, share the physical address of a domestic violence shelter. So most jobs require a physical address to be hired. Even if they like you, they're like, I'm sorry. Nothing I can do if you can't give me your physical address. And that's happened to me many times. Now, there's a program that could be invented here. Basically, there are options where you can get a P.O. box through, I think it's UPS. It's either UPS or FedEx. I'm pretty sure it's UPS. And that P.O. box actually has a physical address attached to it, so you can give a physical address for yourself, even though you only have a P.O. box. So here's the program that I think would actually be helpful. If somebody could basically fund these mailboxes so that women could have these physical addresses so they can get hired at a job and they can get out and they can not go back to the abuser, that would be fantastic. Something else needs done, like all over the place. The length of stay, the physical address issue, these men or women, because I mean women can be abusers too, they need stiffer punishments. They're not going to learn a lesson. They also need some sort of counseling for her rehabilitation purposes. Sorry, hold on. Okay. Anyway, they need to be able to have some sort of assistance in getting the things they need to be successful. If you're in a domestic violence shelter, you can get assistance from the government, whether it's food stamps, sometimes cash benefits for your kids, but paternity has to be proven, and there's a bunch of loopholes to jump through for that. So, I mean, there are programs out there, but they're just not adequate. Extend the length of time that the government pays for these shelters, please. Let them get better grants so that a woman can stay maybe 60, 90 days. 90 days would be optimal, but it isn't often required, especially if the woman has a job to begin with when she goes in, but that's typically not the case. Also offer through Work One, which is the unemployment office here, offer free courses. So they offer typically courses that will help you get some sort of certification through Work One, and I believe it's $190. Last time I checked, it was $190. It might be more now, but that's what it would cost you to start the program and complete it, and you had to pay that up front. Waive those fees for women of domestic violence. If they're living in a domestic violence shelter, they're automatically shoo-in. Here you go, free. That way they can go somewhere else. Get them the opportunity to have extended stays. Like, so for instance, there are domestic violence shelters that are emergency shelters, which is what I've already talked about. And then there are other shelters that basically allow you to stay for a more extended period of time if you can get into those. They are far and few between. They're very hard to get into, and there's like a 6-month wait list. Okay. That doesn't add up to me. 90 days would be optimal to stay at an emergency shelter. You get 45 days, 6 months before you can get into, a year sometimes before you can get into these extended shelters where you can stay a year or two in order to put back money, raise your kids, all of the things, so that you don't ever have to go back to these type of things. You don't have to depend on an abuser. You don't have to return to that life. Make it better, folks. Make it better. Punishments. First step. Go for it. Indiana, please, I ask you, be the difference. Be the first one to step up and say, okay, we're giving stiffer punishments because we are now a domestic violence zero tolerance state. I think you'll find that all of the employment rates jump up, all of the domestic violence rates go down because the women can get away. Thank you for listening to me to this extent. I know I've rambled on for almost 10 minutes. Please forgive me for almost breaking down back there. Like, it's something that's hard. It's something that until you've been through it, you don't think about what happens in these cases. You don't sit there and consider, okay, what did that woman go through that got shot? The police officer that I talked about earlier, his ex-wife at the time, lost her eye. She was beaten that severely. She lost her eye. It was permanent injury. 1 year, time served, the rest on probation. Are you freaking kidding me? Makes no sense. nail these guys to the wall.